Good evening, I am the Gentleman and welcome to the Gentleman's Pixel Club. Tonight's game is Tetris. Tetris is going to be played on the MiSTer FPGA core on the Game Boy system, and it's going to be the original game that came with all the grey cream Game Boys back in the day. So most of you may have had one of these if you're a Game Boy owner. Pretty much everybody that had the original Game Boy, unless they got it second hand, would have had one. But before that, a shout out to some comments that I had in the feedback on YouTube. RS Matrix, your intro destroyed my eardrums. I must apologise for that. As of today, we've got a brand new intro. Unless I get feedback like that, I can't change things, tweak things and make the odd changes. So thank you very much for that. Points noted, fixed for you going forward, hopefully. Today's challenge is on the Game Boy, as I said, playing Tetris, and what we're going to do is we're going to see how far that we can get when the video kicks off, because it's a game that I've already played, so I know how far I get at this point. Obviously I've had to kill the sound because there's likely to be copyright infringements for the Tetris music, and the plan is to start on level 11. I believe you can go up to level 9 for the starting level. I want to see how far I can get. You're going to see 3 high scores on the screen already. That's not the level of the gameplay that I have. That's me getting used to the controls. There is a slight difference when you play the game on a Game Boy compared to when you're playing it on a big TV screen like this, and obviously using a controller to manipulate the blocks rather than the D-pad that you had on the device. So without further ado, let's get into this. I like to have a strategy when I play this. Part of the objective is to keep the right hand row free if possible, so you can use the 4 block that's coming down the screen when you've got enough of the rest of the blocks built up to actually clear them and create easy Tetrises. You get quite a few more points for doing 4 in a row rather than 1, 2 or 3 in a row, so that really is what to aim for. You see some of the blocks drop down slowly and then quite fast. That is my control doing this just to speed up the game. Obviously as you get up into the later levels, things absolutely whip by. I'm already pleased with the progress I have made on this. When you look at the video yesterday that I did on Iron Horse, there we go, Tetris. Sorry, interrupted by that. I was so awful. I was barely better than the actual demo that came with the game, and that's saying something. I think I mentioned it in the comments. What I did do as well was actually play that game a little bit more than what I did on the video, and I was still no better than that. Perhaps in a year's time. What I hope with the game that we played tonight, I say on the Game Boy using Tetris, is you're going to see that I do have some skills and some ability. You know, losing at games is fine, although I'm not particularly good at games. Continually losing at them is certainly no fun for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for a moment and let this play out a couple of levels, and then I'll join you intermittently as we go through this video. At this point I'm getting a little bit concerned about the lack of 4 blocks. Unfortunately one does turn up there, but it turns up at completely the wrong point. Look, I wasted it having to clear the mess that I've made at the top due to none of them appearing. Sometimes I feel this game has an algorithm where it looks to see what blocks you need, and it makes its damned best effort to be sure that you don't get until absolutely at the end. The problem with this game as well is you can play it in a very controlled manner. You know, everything is smooth, everything is controlled, you're in complete control of the board, and then when you lose control of maybe 2 or 3 blocks, it then all goes to hell and back so easy. Yeah, it looks like you're cruising for a fantastic finish, and then it just breaks. For those of you that have seen the time on the video, this is just a single game we play, so we know that I get so far. But without cheating and jumping ahead, the question is, you know, how many levels do I do? We know we can start between 0 and 9. You know, I wanted to start then just to have a slow pace going, but what I do hope, when I kick the video off, or kick the gameplay off, that I was actually going to break level 10 on this. And when you get to level 10, it really is hard, and you know, you have to be sure that you're controlling the board entirely. Again, I'm not doing this at the moment. You can see the clear block that I've got on the 4th row, you know, and this piece coming down now, the 4 piece. It's a shame. That would have been much more points if they cleared the bottom row as well. People that do the FPGA cores, you know, absolute credit must go to those men, women, those absolutely incredible coders here. What they do is they take a piece of original hardware and they effectively recreate all the circuits and everything else, and it runs in the FPGA of the system board that's part of the device I continually keep referencing there. And you know, you're playing effectively on the original hardware that's been recreated in the FPGA, and you know, if they get their coding right, the timing's right and everything, there should be absolutely no difference here. This plays all kinds of systems, you know, as I mentioned in previous videos, and to own one of these devices, yes, they cost a little bit of money to get us up, a little bit of money to get going, but if you're a retro collector who wants to just, or a retro fan, not so much a collector, that just wants to play the games on the best system possible, it really is worth investing in these. Do a search on Google for MiSTer FPGA, have a look at the sites, have a look at the forums, have a look at videos like this, have a look at videos that other people have done as well, and you really won't get much better gameplay than this. And it's also a cracking system to play a lot of the Neo Geo titles as well. The full catalogue of those is pretty much available, and again, they're running perfectly, and that will save you a hell of a lot of money than trying to invest in that system. What you could do is you could take one of these MiSTer FPGA devices as well and hook it up to an arcade cabinet. So if you have a look, there's Arcade 1-Up Systems, which is an American company, and they create replicas of, say, Outrun, Street Fighter, things like this. People have taken this device, replaced the innards, and literally put this within the cabinet to give them the games they want to be playing, plus hundreds of others and hundreds of other systems. You really can't go wrong with this, and it's the best thing that I think that I've invested in terms of retro computers, retro systems, in all the years that I've ever had a system. Never have I had something that is so comprehensive as this. So we've just tipped level 5 recently. You can see that I am in full control of this board. When I got the Tetris there, I think I got 4,000 to 5,000 points. So it's not too many of those, and you start boosting the levels very quickly. The problem then comes with the boost of levels, the boost of speed, and you really have to start reading ahead. When you play the game on the early levels, it doesn't matter that it's showing you what block comes next, but as you hit the later ones, it really does matter. If you are a fan of Tetris, there's a great PC version out. Stupidly, I can't remember the name, it's literally just gone from my head, and obviously Tetris is in the title, but it has a lot of visuals, a lot of flowery type visuals, a lot of sort of virtual type visuals with wavy lines, great sounds, line art and everything else like that. It's been around for a few years. I think it's on the PlayStation as well, and a couple of other systems as well as the Nintendo Switch. But take a look at that. You know, you can't go far wrong if you want a modern take on this with gameplay that is just as fun as what you're seeing now. That being said, my heart always does go out to the version that you're seeing on the Game Boy, because the version that I first saw Tetris on before it was available on pretty much any other system. So yeah, this is now perfect timing for the 4-piece to appear, and I saw the one as well, the next one along, so that clears that level quite well. Again, controlling the board, we're at level 7, and it appears like I'm in full control. However, one slip is literally going to break everything because of the speed these blocks are starting to come down now. I'm trying to get the Tetrises, but at the moment I'm focusing on just 1 line, 2 lines here and there. You know, gone is the object to score as many points as possible. It's just to keep control of the board, keep focused, and keep everything on the bottom couple of rows as much as possible. So while we're here and you're watching me play this, let me share a little bit about the object of this channel here. The sole purpose for me is have a little bit of fun with YouTube, you know, a bit of relaxing time, playing games, sharing games that I enjoy. There's going to be games that are absolutely not for everybody when we do this, because I will be hitting PlayStation 5. You know, I do enjoy Fortnite as well. The PlayStation 4 will be hit, as well as a few other systems. So you're not always going to find everything you like, but you know, stick with me because I'm going to try to jump around systems. Although I talk a lot about the MiSTer FPGA, that system does so much. You know, we've had an arcade core that's been played, we've had the Sinclair Spectrum that's been played a couple of times, we've got the Game Boy that's being played on it, and I'll keep pushing the virtues of this because once you buy the hardware, it's free. You are not paying for any of the software here, and you know, that gives me such a huge catalogue that I can play without having to dig out the real machines, without having to dig out all the cables to try and get maybe a CRT a monitor capture done, or trying to get output from an Amiga to a capture card. You know, the MiSTer is the solution for everything when it comes to these kinds of videos, these kinds of capture. But again, it's not focused solely on this. There will be other things. I have shelves of PlayStation 4 games that I've still got wrapped up, Nintendo Switch games that I've still got wrapped up, and all of those need a viewing, and I think what a better place to do it on this channel. And again, it's just sharing gameplay. I watch hundreds of hours, you know, over my life of, you know, YouTube videos, retro gamers and everything else like this, and you know, I am more than happy just to sit and watch the game people play, idle commentary like we have here, you know, talking about the game, talking about nothing else. And you know, this is the goal of my channel. You know, yes, I absolutely get the, you know, if you're going to make a channel, the channel you don't make it on is retro gaming, because the market is absolutely saturated. And what am I doing? I am doing this, but you know this, I'm doing it for myself first. But you know, equally, you know, I am very interested in the views you get, you know, people subscribing as well, and the feedback in the comments. You know, if there's a game you would like to see me play on one of these systems, put it in the comments. I do read all the comments, and one of the things I'm going to be doing is hitting effectively a like on anything that I respond to, or to acknowledge that I've at least read it and, you know, take a note on it. I think there's nothing worse than YouTube channels where you get comments that come from you, the viewer, and the creators absolutely ignore it. I may not like everything I read, but that's the nature of the beast when you put yourself out there to you know, do this. I have zero plans to do a Patreon or anything else like this. This is just being done for fun, although That might happen at some point in the future, but if I'm fair and I'm honest, you know, I've gone and brought everything that I particularly need here, and I'm just using the kit that I have to do this. You know, what does interest me, and my first short-term goal is getting, I believe it's 100 subscribers, and when you get 100 subscribers, you have the ability to actually have a custom name for the YouTube channel, and that is something that I really would like to do. So, you know, if you are watching this, it would mean a lot to me if you give a subscribe, a like, and any feedback in the video. It at least lets me know, as I've said in a previous video, whether I'm heading in the right direction. But more importantly than that, you know, feedback, you can make positive changes if things are wrong. And a good example is the opening sound that I had in the first few videos compared to this one. I think it's much nicer on everybody's ears, but I would have left it before otherwise, because it's like the first time I've done this kind of channel with games and trying to do nightly videos as well. You know, it would have continued being wrong, and if that noise at the beginning that I had on the first few videos was bothering people, it would probably make them not want to subscribe, not want to click on the video, not want to click on the link once they've heard it a couple of times and they knew their eardrums were getting ruptured. So again, thank you for RS Matrix for pointing that out for me. So while I've been wittering on about some of the goals of the channel and everything else, we've found ourselves on level 11. Level 11 is pretty hard here. You know, these blocks are coming down very fast, and it really is one or two slip-ups and it's absolutely going to be game over. You know, trying to turn the blocks in the right direction, left or right as they're coming down, trying to see the forthcoming block that you've got and planning where you're landing it. You know, it all looks very gentlemanly, very calm, very collective here, but you know, my hands were absolutely sweating like a pig's, although pigs don't have hands, so sweating like some trotters while I was playing this. And you know, you were just hoping that you weren't going to muck up. You know, I am aiming, as I say, to get the highest level that I can, but there is the secondary goal to get over 100,000 points. If you can do that, you get a nice little animation for those that haven't seen it, and the higher levels you get, the better animation I believe you got from years ago of playing this. We'll see whether we get to that. I'm not 100% sure that I will, because of the state of my hands that I recall where we are and the sheer concentration and the speed of which these blocks are falling. But now is the time to place your bets. How far do I really get? Again, with that block at the end, just to take the one line, I'm just absolutely concentrating on single lines at the moment. 17,000 points away from the 100,000. Level 14 has just clocked in, and the nerves are really beginning to get to me at the moment. At the moment, things are just crashing for me, you know, losing control, and that's the bus